How has exercise influenced your life, Brian?
It's definitely influenced my life greatly because I've learned that I may talk about airway clearance a little bit later, but
Okay.
definitely one of my favorite forms of airway clearance is because I love to exercise anyway, so it's kind of nice that it kind of works hand in hand. And I've kind of, when I started riding, it was just kind of to have fun, but I didn't really realize that it would turn into the whole Brian's Ride thing. And
So throughout this interview, I've realized that you don't regret having cystic fibrosis.
mhm.
Can you explain a little more how it's a part of you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that old cliche saying where whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I think that's really true because I think if I didn't have cystic fibrosis, I don't know who I'd be. I might be a smoker. I might be a lazy couch potato. I don't know who I'd be,
Right.
but I think it's definitely taken me to a lot of places and showed me a lot of things that I might not have seen if I didn't have cystic fibrosis. So I definitely don't regret it. And then I might not be happy that I have it, but at the same time, like I said, I've definitely done a lot of things that I wouldn't have done if I didn't have cystic fibrosis.
So you have, like, what activities of daily living did you have the most trouble with, if any? But if not, do you know what other people struggle with?
I think I may have mentioned before just the fact that you're being different than everybody else. I kind of like that I'm different, and like I said, I strive to be more than normal now and just get out there and do different, fun, goofy stuff. But I think when I was in high school, it was tough being different than everybody else and having, like, whenever we went to lunch, I would have to go to the nurse's office and get my medicine and do the whole routine, and it was just tough. People asking questions, and I didn't really know how to answer it when I was in high school. Now my favorite part is educating people about cystic fibrosis, like we're doing right now.
Right.
So, but when I was in high school, it's tough explaining to people about cystic fibrosis because they don't know about it, and so of course they have a negative attitude about it because they don't know about it. So I think that's definitely the hardest part, is just being different than everybody else.
Right.
Yep. Treatments. There's a thing called a therapy vest, where it's just like a vest that you wear, and then there's these tubes that come out of the vest, and the vest is basically like a balloon. It inflates and deflates and basically compresses your lungs, so that kind of tries to break up that extra thick mucus in there. So basically you just kind of sit in front of this, there's a big giant air compressor, it weighs like 100 pounds, and you basically just sit in front of that thing, and it shakes you up and tries to get that mucus loose. Probably anyone with cystic fibrosis hates the vest because you have to just sit there for like half an hour to an hour, like twice a day is what you're supposed to. A cappella today, and it has different settings. You can kind of adjust your airflow, but what it does is basically it limits your breathing. So whenever you're breathing, it kind of forces you to breathe harder, and in turn, it breaks up that mucus, so you can cough it up and get it out. But
And that's something you use more now than any other type of treatment?
right, because it's so easy. You can use it while you're driving in your car, or maybe while you're doing homework or whatever you're doing. But this is probably, I'd say, the treatment I use the most. Of course, aside from exercise, but it is nice, like I said, whenever you're sick and you can't get out there and run or something. Right. So this is nice.
Can you name an alternative to the acapella?
This was developed just recently in replacement of the flutter we were talking about earlier.
Flutter.
You have to look that one up. I can explain it, but basically it's the same thing, only what's nice about the acapella with the flutter is you had to be sitting up straight, and it had to be kind of oriented the right way. Okay. Whereas the flutter, you could be laying down, or it could be upside down. It'll work any which way. So
Okay.
that's what's nice about the acapella.
Since I'm in the field of occupational therapy,
Hmm.
could you tell me about the didgeridoo and
The
how
didger-
that helps?
Yeah.
Because that's something like you can play it for pleasure and it serves many purposes.
Right, exactly. Well, my girlfriend brought back a didgeridoo from her trip to Australia a couple years ago, and I was just kind of messing around with it, started playing it, and I kind of realized that it was really good for airway clearance. It was almost just as good as the acapella, if not better. But it was fun because it actually made cool music, and you could practice with it and get better, and it was really neat because, like I said, it was serving a purpose, but also you were kind of having fun with it, so you weren't just sitting there
Right.
not doing anything.
So did you use the vest at all when you were younger or anything like that?
I did. My mom would make me do it. I hated it. I hated the vest. I hated just sit there and veg for an hour. But I mean, you could watch TV or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but I probably used it. I used it way more when I was sick. Like when I wasn't exercising. If I was sick, I would use it.
How often did you get sick as a child?
I remember I was definitely had like a cold or the flu every year during winter. You probably know from your research, a person with CF has more frequent lung infections because of that extra thick mucus that's
Right.
growing in your lungs. So, I mean, there's more of that, but also I probably got like flu or cold sick like every year. But now I find that I'm living by myself, and like I said, I kind of get into that routine. I think I'm sick way less. So
Than you were in like high school and
right,
Okay.
Exactly. In your lungs.
Okay.
So if you give someone else with cystic fibrosis an infection that you might be used to, that you give to them that they're not used to, then it's going to hurt them because their body isn't used to that, to whatever you're growing in your lungs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that transfer of germs, which, like if we were to shake hands and transfer our germs, like we should watch that anyways. But it's especially important for two people with cystic fibrosis because we're growing those infections in our lungs, and it's bad to kind of mix those.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes it pretty hard to be in contact with other people.
Right, it
with cystic
does.
fibrosis.
Yeah, that's why those events that were really good and those really good social events for cystic fibrosis have kind of really dwindled because they don't want people with CF to kind of meet and stuff like
So
that.
people kind of fear that. The primary way to fight CF would be to establish a routine, exercise, and really look at what you're eating.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's good for any illness, not just cystic fibrosis. I think getting that routine down where you're taking your medication every day, if you have medication that you need to take, and that you're being healthy and you have that routine down where you do that every day, so you're not just I'll do that sometimes, but then I'm gonna forget, and it's really good to get that routine down.
Okay, Brian, any last thoughts, anything you want to say that really close to your heart?
I think we about covered everything. Check out the website, briansride.org. Check it out and donate to the cause.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.